I do have two. I have my main one. You could accuse me of being slightly overambitious when I started the second one. Somebody recommended to do it, but it was a good idea because it's a little bit extra money too. And now I can grow that site, which I couldn't do before. I had to focus, decide where to spend my time before.
Okay, cool. So you have two sites, and how old is each one?
So yeah, the first one is the one that's I think it's roughly 2.5 years, and the other one would be about two at this point. Yeah.
Okay, so you got the other one started pretty quick, just 6 months in, probably to get some age in there, and you were thinking, hey, why not?
Yeah, later on that year, once the first one, or I did so. It's been such a long time. Uh, I I had asked somebody about things, and he said, "Well, I know they're affiliate marketing. I know that," and he had suggested that I do that. And it happened to be something that was used to be a hobby and part-time job I had before I got out of college, in my hometown, or when I worked in my hometown part-time, and so it was an idea. I thought, well, I can start the side, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay. So my main one. It was almost biting off more than I could chew at the time. So that's why I tend to caution people now about doing that. You know,
Yeah, no one believes us, but then after they do it, then they end up
yeah,
realizing that it's too much. I have at least 3 or 4 sites that just sit there. They're aged, they're years old, but like I still haven't gone back because at some point it's kind of it's work, right? After you do something for a while, it's work, and I'm like, I could like go to the gym or go walk outside for a little while instead. So I usually do that.
yeah,
Maybe I'm lazy. So, well, for that initial site, we'll just focus on
okay.
one site for now, and then I may pepper in some other questions about the second site. But for the first site, are you making the majority of the money from that one site?
Like I calculated that roughly 91%. So just to say 90%. How about that?
Cool. So perfect. We'll just focus on that main part. How many pieces of content are on the first site, and how did the content come about?
I just hit post number 100 about a week and a half, or maybe two at the most. So I go just finish up some more product reviews. So I started off with the 10 sprint of 10, like you recommend in your course, and then just went from there whenever I could. Just had to do the best I can on such limited free time. Spent most of my weekends where, especially starting off, I was much slower at writing content because I wasn't very good writer at the time. So it took me a long time, but let's say I would get out on a good month, I could get out 4 to 6, maybe depends on what kind of post. And until I got more faster, and then I could might get 2 or 3 on a weekend. I had to do a lot of it on the weekend,
Okay.
or at night.
Cool. And during this like period of time, you're working what, like 40 to 60
Yeah,
hours a week?
it was definitely at least 40, and sometimes I'd stay late at night. Well, I should, you're not supposed to, but every once in a while I squeeze in working on my site at work. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No one watches these, so I never did that because I was doing this on the side as well. So I never did that, but I did work remotely. So I always had like a second laptop or whatever. So if I did personal stuff, because I was like, I want to make sure I'm not doing anything on my work computer. I don't know if you did that, don't answer it. But basically, yeah, like if you work remotely, usually you have a lot more free time. And you actually went into an office though every day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And well, we'll keep focusing on the site. So you have about 100 pieces of content. So I think this is a good point because I literally just answered a question today. Someone was like, "Well, how many pieces of content do I need to make, say, $1,000 per month?" And some people may say 300 posts. They have like astronomical number of
Yeah.
words, but you're saying you had 100 pieces of content, and that is basically making you, if I do the math right, like $4,500 per month, roughly.
Right.
Okay. And I would argue potentially, right? We will never know because we can't go back in time. But I think if you didn't do the CRO testing in November and December, like your earnings would be like
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah.
a lot higher. So
Yeah.
more like 8,000 per month if I just had to estimate. So
Yeah. I like that.
Um, yeah. So from your observation, you don't have to have as much content. You have 100 pieces. Can you tell us a little bit about like how you format it and how long it is, images, all that kind of stuff?
Honestly, sometimes mine are too long, but it's just because I honestly try so hard to put in some really good stuff. But basically, they mine easily are about 2,000, 2,500. Let's say let's use the example of a buyer post because the info post is a different case altogether. It'll be 2,000, 2,500, and I'll have sections with the general content like what is this product, how does it work, what does this do, what is the best, yada yada. A lot of those I have in there. I should be getting ahead of myself. I start off with an intro table of contents that's very clear and easy to click on, and then I go into the general content section, and then I have my product tables if it's a say best X or Y post, and then I have my detailed product sections after that. And I basically each one of those is all my posts are very similar to each other. It's that general layout, for example, for a buyer post, and you could say likewise for a single product review or an info post. I have a general similar style that's fairly consistent.
Okay, great. And as far as like images and stuff like that, for example, I see you have some lighting set up behind you. So
Oh
you're
yeah,
taking some images yourself, right?
yeah, definitely. So I got an inexpensive light stand or a couple of light stand sets from eBay, and I got some good bulbs, which is another learning experience. And for single product reviews, my main niche is fairly competitive, and there's a lot of sites up there. It's for some reason it's one of the ones that a lot of people think of first. So I needed some kind of advantage, and I think I heard like Stuart Walker or someone like it mentioned one time that they actually buy the product, take pictures, and in a lot of cases, part of this was I couldn't find good images from the manufacturer or whatever the case might be. There might just not be any out there. But if something I really wanted to dig in and say, what can I do to set my site apart? And so I said, okay, why don't I give a shot buying one of these? And I'll take my own pictures. And I started off with just my old Sony camera a phone I used to have. The camera was pretty bad, but I made it work. And people responded well to that. And then I thought, well, I'd like to do an even better job. So I got some light stands, and you got a little table, and I could take little pictures of the products, and I take very detailed products. Now I have a better phone, much dramatically better camera, so I can do even better and not have to edit it quite as much, fix it. And it was mainly trying to be a step ahead above the other guys because a lot of my competition, they don't care about quality at all. All they do is put out garbage. They're just trying to get your clicks. I really want to deliver what people are looking for and answer their questions. Is this good or not? And then I wanted to also do it in a way that makes my site look authoritative. You can trust it. So that it makes a huge difference.
Okay. Do you have any other tips for content or making someone's content stand out?
Yeah, I because I've seen so many different sites by this time, and after having changed the way I do it now from when I started off. So there's an article on your website about secondary keywords. So that helped me a lot for making the content longer, not just because I'm trying to fill it in with something, but it's a section. I'll take a secondary keyword and use that to make a section in the content that actually contributes something to the reader. That fills in that necessary space if say it was going to be very short otherwise. But generally, I try to lay things out in a way where it's easy to read, easy to find where you're going. If it's just information, there's a table of contents, there's clear H2s, everything's sectioned off, it's not too long, break it up, make it easy to keep up, especially on your phone, on a smaller screen. And then product related stuff, I make it easy to find what I recommend, easy to know what to click on, a call to action, either a link or a button, whatever it may be. Good pictures as much as possible, things like that.
Okay. And it's funny when you mention a lot of it just seems kind of obvious, but like when you're in the trenches and you're thinking, I need to publish more content and you have a big list of keywords, people can get overwhelmed and overdo it, underdo it, like all the things that you mentioned. It's not necessarily trivial to, find a solution for like tables or the table of contents or etc.